In the raucous year of 1775, when the echoes of the American Revolution were stirring up the winds of the Atlantic, a boy named Thomas Cochrane was born into Scotland's stormy landscape. Little did anyone know this flame-haired lad, a reckless sparkle in his eye, was destined to whip up tempests of his own. Raised in Ansfield, with the stirring tales of seafaring adventurers as his lullabies, young Cochrane dreamed not of a quiet life ashore, but of the unpredictable rhythm of the waves. At the tender age of 17, this insatiable thirst led him straight into the formidable embrace of the Royal Navy, and thus, an audacious naval legend was set to embark on his turbulent voyage. Chapter 1. Ascension in the Ranks. Our story now finds young Cochrane submerged in the choppy waters of the Royal Navy. An eager, fresh-faced lad of 17 when he first stepped onto the deck, Cochrane was as much a part of the sea as the barnacles clinging to the ship's hull. With each gust of salty sea breeze that knotted his auburn hair, the boy's destiny twined tighter with the tempestuous sea. Dazzlingly audacious, and as unpredictable as a sudden squall, Cochrane wasn't just another ship hand. Oh no, my dear friends, he was an alchemist, turning the conventional into extraordinary, transforming defeat into victory with a pinch of guts and a sprinkle of wits. His meteoric rise through the Navy ranks wasn't about luck. It was the result of daring maneuvers, sharp instincts, and a flair for the unorthodox that left enemies floundering and allies cheering. From the helm of the HMS Speedy to the deck of the Pallas, Cochrane danced around the rulebook like a mariner merrily jigging on the foredeck. Each command he undertook became a story of audacious victory, each encounter with the enemy a thrilling symphony of strategic brilliance. As news of his triumphs rippled back to shore, one thing was clear: this was no ordinary sailor. Thomas Cochrane, they whispered in awe, was a storm set to rewrite naval history. Chapter 2. The Battle of Basque Roads, a dance of audacity and strategy. It was a classic David versus Goliath setup. The night was lit by the eerie glow of the moon, casting a spectral pallor over the French fleet anchored at Basque Roads. In contrast, Thomas Cochrane, our audacious captain, and his motley squadron of ships were but flecks of obscurity against the inky blue canvas of the Atlantic. Our hero had a plan, as wild as the sea itself. With fire ships, boats loaded with combustibles intended to set enemy ships aflame. As his chosen weapon, Cochrane orchestrated a dance that was equal parts audacity and strategy. The British ships were set alight, their flaming silhouettes bearing down on the French fleet like maritime specters, a fearsome sight that would make even the bravest sailor's heart quail. The French sailors panicked, frantically maneuvering to escape the approaching fiery specters, causing their line to shatter into disarray. Cochrane seized the moment, his small squadron descending on the scattered French fleet like an avenging storm. The sea echoed with the cacophony of battle, but when the smoke and spray finally cleared, it was Cochrane, the daring underdog, who emerged victorious. This audacious gambit cemented Cochrane's reputation as a maverick naval tactician, his name echoing through history as the man who dared to dance with fire. Chapter 3. The Daring Escape. In the grand, high-stakes theater of the Napoleonic era, there was no act quite as daring or as dramatic as our audacious captain's escape from a French prison. Picture it. Cochrane, unfairly imprisoned, finds himself surrounded by cold, unwelcoming stone walls. But did these confinements dampen his spirit? Absolutely not. As darkness fell on one fateful night, Cochrane, displaying the audacity we know and love, made his daring move. With a makeshift rope, a concoction of bed linens and sailors' knots, he scaled down the towering prison walls, his heart pounding with the thrill of adventure. Free from the prison's clutches, our captain wasn't home free just yet. The French countryside stretched before him, a daunting maze teeming with French patrols. His solution? A brilliant ruse. He transformed into a French peasant, his naval uniform swapped for humble attire, and his polished English manners replaced by rough peasant charm. Cochrane traveled hundreds of miles under this disguise, blending seamlessly with the local populace, cleverly evading detection. His journey took him through bustling markets and serene vineyards, all the way to the Dutch border. His audacious escape was a testament to his ingenious thinking and relentless determination. Just another thrilling chapter in the life of Thomas Cochrane, the craziest sea captain in history. Chapter 4. Changing the Course of History. Away from the murky prisons and tumultuous high seas, our tempestuous Captain Cochrane now finds himself in an entirely new theater of action: South America. Just when you think he might settle for a calmer life, he's knee-deep in revolutionary wars and independence movements. You see, the chap's spirit of adventure simply couldn't resist a good skirmish. The year is 1817, and Chile, squirming under the yoke of Spanish rule, needed a fearless sailor with a cunning mind. Enter our man Cochrane, taking command of the Chilean Navy. Our captain, ever the maverick, led daring assaults on Spanish strongholds, dealt crushing blows to their fleet, and played an instrumental role in securing Chilean independence. The audacious Scot had done it again. But why stop at one nation when there are others pining for liberty? Brazil and Greece were next in line, both ripe for the Cochrane touch. Guided by his audacious strategies, Brazil shook off Portuguese dominion, and Greece unshackled itself from Ottoman rule. Quite the global liberator, our captain. And thus, with a wild twinkle in his eye and a dauntless spirit, Cochrane didn't just make waves on the seas, but he rocked entire nations, leaving behind an indelible mark in the annals of history. And we thought his naval escapades were crazy. Chapter 5: Legacy of the Mad Mariner. Welcome, history buffs, to the chapter where we pay tribute to the lasting imprint of the audacious and the unorthodox, Admiral Thomas Cochrane, the Mad Mariner. This daring, wily Scotsman didn't merely rewrite the naval rulebook. He tossed it overboard and charted a course all his own. His battlefield was the vast, unpredictable ocean, his weapons not just guns and cannons, but audacity, cunning, and a brand of ingenuity that teetered on the edge of madness. He was the architect of victories against overwhelming odds, the mastermind behind daredevil escape plots, and a hero in lands far from his own. Cochrane was not a man contained by borders or conventions. He charted his course by the North Star of his ambition and the trade winds of his intellect, transforming every obstacle into an opportunity. His tales, as wild as the sea he navigated, live on, a beacon for the fearless and the bold. His strategies, innovative and daring, continue to be dissected in naval academies across the globe, his audacious spirit serving as an indelible ink in the annals of maritime lore. Yes, dear friends, this was Cochrane, the Mad Mariner, who cast a giant untamed shadow on history's vast ocean, leaving in his wake tales of audacity that remind us all. Sometimes, madness isn't madness at all, but simply a daring leap into the unknown. And so, dear reader, we've sailed the wild waters of Thomas Cochrane's life, relished his audacious spirit, and observed his brilliant wake. Here was a man who viewed life as an uncharted ocean, ripe for exploration, eschewing the common charts for his own thrilling course. His audacity reshaped nations, his tactics transformed naval warfare, and his life became the stuff of legends. Cochrane's wake leaves us this tantalizing legacy, that a dash of madness married to courage and wit can indeed change the world. So, fellow voyagers, may we embrace the unpredictable seas of life, ever inspired by our mad, audacious captain.